Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. I will be your host, Threads, bringing you a role-playing build known as the Blooded Dragonguard. The Blooded Dragonguard is basically, in a nutshell, a build intended specifically for a niche casual playstyle. The build revolves all around being a dragon god with a twist of being a vampire. As you can tell, this build is pretty heavily inspired by the last boss of a Hollow Fang dungeon called Grunwolf. The Blooded Dragon Knight can be any race, any gender, or even any class really. While it can be any race and any gender or any class, I will be showing you my iteration, not because I'm a bloody maniac for Norse, but because that was basically the race of Grunwolf, the last boss of the dungeon. And we picked Nightblade in this case, as it really reflects well with the whole vampiric aesthetics. And now a little bit to the lore, or the background, basically the story. The Blooded Dragon Knight was born in Skyrim, Falkreath. He was brought up by living a calm life in his childhood. He was taught how to wield a sword at a young age, but as he grew, his only parent passed away, and as such the Blooded Dragon God decided to leave his past behind him and start venturing, basically. As such, venturing in the hold of the rift, he was ambushed by a group of vampires, unknowingly being infected by the disease known as Sanguinar Vampiris. I think that's how it's pronounced. I have no idea, please correct me if I'm wrong. But he was rescued by a fully armored traveler, later to be revealed as Chevalier Renaud. I think that's how it's pronounced. Please, I have no idea how it's correctly pronounced. He compliments you on your skills with the blade and offers you to join the Dragon Gods. Later explained, the Dragon Gods are basically the predecessors of the Blades, originally from Kavir, and the Dragon God came to Tamriel to serve the Dragonborn, basically, although officially disbanded at the end of the First Era, after being given instructions to head to Southerners elsewhere to find and to aid Sai Sahan in the reconstructions of the Dragon God. And now to the build. Here we have my character, basically Vokun Gakot. He's basically a Nord, having normal stats, everything into stamina, nothing special really, around 4000 weapon damage. The main part, we are vampire, we're using Dubious Camorian and using the Shadow Stone for the critical. As for skills, we have the Twisting Path skill from the Shadow skill line, Stated Fury from the Vampire skill line. We're going with the healing one, Carve for the extra bleeds, because bleeds, for blood. Then we have Leeching Strikes, gives us stamina back and healing per light and heavy attack we do, and Resolving Vigor for that juicy extreme healing. We're using also Swarming Scion in this case, but we can always swap it out from the Siphoning Ultimate, if you're up to that. Killer's Blade for the execute. We're using Surprise Attack for our main spammable. We're using Power Extraction for the buff and AoE damage. Relentless Focus, because it's a Nightblade skill, really good. And Blood Craze, because healing and bleeding, really beautiful. For this ultimate, we're actually using Soul Harvest for that extra 10 ultimate to get our ultimate, well, faster when it comes to the Vampire ultimate. When it comes to gear, we're using Grundwolf's Mask, in this case the monster set itself, to go with the aesthetics and the theme, but you can swap it out if you don't have the DLC with something else. Or if you're a lower player, you can drop it out entirely, up to you really. For the other set, we're using Ancient Dragon God. It gives us beautiful health, a little bit of damage, critical chance, and weapon and spell damage when our health is above 50%, with also a little bit of sturdiness if our health ever drops below 50%. We're also using the Dragon God Elite set because, well, it's in the name, Dragon God. And it has a very unique special effect, which basically summons the big-ass circle of the Dragon God called beneath them. We're using a two-hander with a infused trait, with using the enchant of weapon and spell damage, and daggers, which are both imprecise with disease and poison damage. For champion points, we're going with relieving blows, which is basically our main point for that little bit extra healing. Mastered Arms also increasing our direct damage. Nothing overly special. You can go wild here. Honestly, we're using also Thaumaturge here because damage over time. It increases the bleed effect, and Fighting Finesse because of that tiny little bit increase in critical, because we're using the Shadow Stone and the Dragonguard set, which increases it. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, just quality of life. Steed's Blessing, using a little bit for the speed. Treasure Hunter, why not? I mean, quality of items. Personal preference, really. Bloody Renewal, really important trait here, or, well, CP, whatever. Boundless Fury Forted, just a little bit more armor and health. Regeneration is actually a little bit, a flex spot. We can actually slap on Siphoning Spells, which I think I'm going to do now. Yeah. Just for that extra magic, because we're using Twisting Path either way. So why not? For fashion, we're going with Dragonguard. Actually, the Head and Shoulder, I'm using the Grundwolf Monster set. You can buy it, but I don't feel that rich, so I'm going with the beautiful Dragonguard heavy pieces for chest, belt, legs, boots, hands, all of that. And we're using the Grundwolf weapons as well, because it has that beautiful red glow, and figured I could make a build like that. But you can also go with the Hollowfang dice. For that red, you can actually get it from clearing Hollowfang and Marsalok veteran mode. Transluminal, that beautiful gold with its purple tint, and the ash cold black from clearing the main quest, I think it was, last time I checked. But you can drop out. If you don't like the Grundwolf aesthetics, you can always go with the other Dragonguard pieces. In this case, I think the heavy one, full heavy, actually looks pretty decent. He's just fixing up some dice, so yeah. The weapons itself really look quite fashionable. No comment there really, but you can also really play around the fashion. If you prefer something else, go for it, buddy. It's all purely subjective. The build itself is very niche, nothing too special. I mean, we are talking about a role-playing build here. It's nothing over the meta, nothing groundbreaking, just looking nice while questing around. Anyways, thanks for watching.